Hey guys, in today's lecture, we'll be dealing with the three major components of the 1957 model of transformational generative grammar. So, in the previous lecture, we stopped with the three major component of the 1957 model of transformational generative grammar. So, this is a continuation of it. So, there are three major components for transformational generative grammar. The first one is the base component or the PS component, also known as phrase structure component. Then we have the transformational component, and finally we have the morphophonemic component. Now, the base component of PS component and the morphophonemic component are obligatory, which means that it is important that is, whenever you are analyzing a sentence using a TG grammar, these two components, the base component as well as the morphophonemic components, are obligatory. It is essential to use them, it is essential to derive them. But when it comes to the transformational components, some of the rules in transformational components are obligatory and others are optional. For example, affix switch is a transformational component. It belongs to a transformational component where you add affixes to a terminal string. So when you add affixes to to generate a terminal string from the output, if you add affixes to generate a terminal string, then that is called that is a transformational component. When you affix switch can be considered as a transformational component, and it is obligatory. It is important to add it. Whereas when it comes to passive transformations or negative transformations or negations, these are not obligatory. These are all optional. You may or may not add it into a sentence. That is how it goes. Now let's talk a bit about the base component or PS component. Now the base component or PS component is also known as phrase structure component, and what it does is that by the means of rewrite rules, the PS component generates the structure underlying a kernel sentence. So PS component generates the structure which underlies a kernel sentence or a basic sentence. In the last lecture, I said that a kernel sentence is a basic sentence and a kernel sentence is always affirmative. A kernel sentence is always active, and it is declarative, and it will be a simple sentence. So a kernel sentence will always be simple. It will be affirmative, which means that it will be positive. It will be active, and it will be a declarative sentence, not an interrogative sentence. It will be a declarative sentence. So what the PS component does is that by the means of rewrite rules, that is by applying the rewrite rules, the PS component generates the structure underlying a kernel sentence. So the PS components, by applying PS rules, generates a structure which underlies a kernel sentence. So it will be generating a structure which underlies a kernel sentence, and this will be done in the form of a string of symbols. By using a string of symbols and by using rewrite rules, the PS component generates a structure underlying a kernel sentence in the form of a string of symbols. So let's take the sentence Tom chased the elephant as an example. So Tom chased an elephant is our sentence here. Now the sentence can be divided as a noun phrase and as a verb phrase, right? So here Tom, then we can write it here as such. So you have Tom, then since it is chased, you know that it is CHASED, so it is in the past tense. So you need to specify the tense here because it belongs to auxiliary of tense, right? So you write past here, then you write chase, then you write then you write elephant. So it is how it goes. Tom passed chase the elephant. Is it clear? So the sentence is Tom passed chase the elephant. Now elephant is a noun. The is a determiner. Together, the determiner and noun denotes the noun phrase. Chase is a main verb, and since it is chased, you know that it contains a tense. So it contains past, which is a tense, which is an auxiliary. So the main verb here contains an auxiliary tense, which is in the past, and it contains a main verb, chase. Now together it constitutes the main verbial phrase. Here we write it as MV. The main verb has an auxiliary as well as a main verb. We often write it as NVP, but in your textbook it is written as MV. Okay, so you have with a main verb, an auxiliary, and then Tom is a noun. Right. Now again, Tom is a noun, and then there is only one noun phrase here, and that is the noun Tom. So you have the noun phrase noun Tom. Now in the verb phrase, you have the past tense auxiliary, which constitutes the main verbial phrase. Then you have the main verb, which is the chase. Then the verb phrase also contains a noun phrase, right? And what was the noun phrase? Determiner, the plus noun, elephant. So this is how it goes. From the top, if we look, sentence can be divided into two, or sentence constitutes a noun phrase and a verb phrase. Here there is only a noun in the noun phrase, and the noun is Tom, which is a proper noun. The verb phrase consists of a main verb and a noun phrase. The main verb has an auxiliary tense, and the main verb is chase, and the noun phrase consists of a determiner, the, and the noun elephant. So this is how it is represented using a PSG. By now you know how to do this, how to draw this. Now you have 4 rules here. Now this is as I have written it as it is written in your textbooks. So please do refer to the textbook for this matter. So the first rule that we apply here is that the sentence comprises of the noun phrase as well as the verb phrase that we wrote here. That is the first rule. Sentence constitutes noun phrase and verb phrase. Now the second rule is, since there are 2 noun phrases here, let's just name the first noun phrase as NP1 and the second noun phrase as NP2. So this is something that the grammarians later added to the phrase structure. If there is a noun phrase, then you name it as NP1 and NP2. So here the noun phrase 1 comprises of a noun, which is Tom. Then, so that is the second rule. Noun phrase 1 comprising of a noun Tom. Now the third rule is the verb phrase consists of main verb and noun phrase. See, that is how the branching goes. The verb phrase consists of main verb and noun phrase 2. Main verb and noun phrase 2. Now the noun phrase 2 consists of a determiner and a noun. Now some of you might think that why didn't I say about main verb, because till here we have 4 rules now. Because with noun phrase consisting of determiner and noun, we come to an end of the rules and then we reach at the terminal string. Now one reason for this is that the transformation happens secondly, and then it happens later. Then the thing is that here the auxiliary is a tense. The main verb is anyway chased, so it cannot be split, right? Chased is the main verb. So that is why it is written as main verb here. Main verb here is chased, and the ed form denotes the past tense. So you write it as main verb here, right? Because it is main verb. There is only one word here. That is why we write it as main verb. Then we apply the transformation, or we apply the affix switch in this, and we shall look at it. Now, so far I think it was clear. Sentence constitutes noun phrase and verb phrase. Noun phrase 1 constitutes noun, which is Tom. Now verb phrase can again be divided as main verb and noun phrase. Now main verb and noun phrase is there. Then the third rule is pertaining to the noun phrase. Noun phrase 2 consists of determiner and noun. See, there is a difference between the first noun phrase and the second noun phrase. The first noun phrase, it was just noun, and in the second noun phrase, it's determiner plus noun. That is why we need to have a clarity between them. That's why we used NP1 and NP2 here. Now, from this whole set of PS rules, we arrive at the terminal string. Now, you can write applying rule number 1 to rule number, applying as you do always, applying rule number 1 to, applying rule number 2 to rule number 1, and then you can expand it. Then you can apply rule number 3 to rule number 1, then you can further expand it, and then you can apply rule number 4 to the above string. That's how you do it, right? Applying rule number 2 to rule number 1, and thus you would write as sentence comprising of noun plus verb phrase. Then applying rule number 3 to this string, that's how you did it, right? Applying rule number 3 to this string, sentence consists of noun plus main verb plus noun phrase 2. Now applying rule number 4 to the string, again you can say that sentence consists of noun plus main verb plus determiner plus noun. Now this is the rule that is given in your textbook, right? This is the terminal string, or this is the output which is given in the textbook. This is the PS output which is given in the textbook. Now I have written it like this because I think that it is more grammatically significant when you write it like this. So this is the terminal string that we would get if we apply all the rules. That is, sentence consists of a noun which was Tom, and then there is the tense, which was the auxiliary, which acted as an auxiliary to the verb. Then you have the verb, then you had the determiner, and then you had the noun. So this will be the terminal string. So this will be your terminal string, sentence consisting of, we are writing all those things here, noun plus tense plus verb plus determiner plus noun. So when you arrive at the string, there the base component comes to an end. Now what we look at is the transformational change that may take place here. So we shall look at it in another lecture. Thank you for listening. I hope that it was clear. So the final string that we reach is sentence consists of noun plus tense plus verb plus determiner plus noun. In your text it is written as sentence consisting of NP1 plus MV plus not NP1, it was just N, noun plus main verb plus determiner plus noun. In your text this is written like this, but this is the actual form, sentence consisting of noun plus tense plus verb plus determiner plus noun. Now we shall look at the transformational component in the next lecture. Thank you for listening.